Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Bill Barnwell at ESPN.com took a stab at ranking the NFL offenses from a year ago, or looking at the NFL offenses by rank from a year ago, what went right, what went wrong, and what's next for those teams offensively. And the worst team in the NFL offensively he had was the Seattle Seahawks, and a lot of this is based obviously on metrics. So he had the Seahawks as the worst offense in the NFL at 32, and there were some teams that we would certainly expect to see at the bottom as well, just based on the types of seasons they had. So after Seattle at 32 was Atlanta at 31, who they were miserable, aside from Kyle Pitts, who obviously had a very good year. But when Cordero Patterson, a wide receiver, is your best running back, that's a problem. And then, of course, they got rid of Matt Ryan. So are you really hitching your wagon there in Atlanta to Marcus Mariota? That's just a gigantic problem. The Arizona Cardinals they have at 30. I think that's pretty fascinating considering how much money that Kyler Murray is trying to get paid right now. And then it is your New Orleans Saints at 29, the 29th worst, I guess, offense in the NFL a year ago. Only 3 offenses in the NFL a year ago worse than the New Orleans Saints in these rankings. Now, they look at the offseason and they talk about what went right and then what went wrong and how they fixed it. What went right, they do mention Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis Landry getting great value because of the deals that they did with the New Orleans Saints. The other thing is the deal with Jameis Winston. So Jameis Winston's $15.2 million that'll be paid in 2022 actually could end up being a great bargain. Barnwell notes that Jameis had a 64.4 QBR over the first 7 games before his injury last year. And if he can keep up that pace and that productivity over a 17-game season, a $15 million price tag for a quarterback like that would be a relative bargain, which it very much would be. That's what we're all hoping to see, of course. Now, what went wrong, I think, is where there's kind of a little bit that maybe is presumptive and left up to interpretation. They mentioned about the Saints being all in with Drew Brees, but that they're still doing it with Winston as their quarterback, and that's a problem. Talks about the haul they gave to New England in the draft, and they're now without a first-round pick for 2023, and they built their legendary 2017 class by adding picks in the first and third rounds. Now they're trading away draft capital, but I think that's very presumptive because ultimately what you did was you added a starting left tackle and a wide receiver when you were the worst passing, or second to worst passing offense in the entire NFL. So if you fixed left tackle and if you fixed left tackle and you've added a dynamic receiver in Chris Olave, then I don't think we're looking back worrying at all about what the Saints gave up to get those players. Now, this is the other part that I'll tell you that is a bit perplexing. Barnwell talks about how the Saints gave up a lot. They took Trevor Penning at left tackle, but he also mentioned in losing Armstead to Miami, but guys like Dwayne Brown and Eric Fisher are still available in free agency. First of all, Eric Fisher, former number 1 overall pick, has basically been a right tackle in his career. And Dwayne Brown would be very expensive. So if you're going to knock the Saints for their, air quotes, all-in tactics post-Drew Brees and for spending that kind of money, how can you then turn around and criticize them for not spending money on a tackle? Like they tried to with Teron Armstead, but they had a number. And you got to keep in mind, like we talked about a bunch, Teron Armstead's been an injury-prone player throughout his career. So at this point in his career, they didn't want to invest that kind of money in a player that hasn't played a full season since his second year in the league or whatever it was. So that feels a little contradictory there. But the other thing that was super interesting, when they talked about what's next, and they talk about Alvin Kamara facing the possibility of missing 6 games due to suspension, Mark Ingram and Tony Jones really being backups, and he mentions the Saints really should add a veteran back who's good in the pass game as well, that to this rushing attack, which we've talked about so much in this offseason as that being a great need. So the Saints had a lot of holes to fill. But the thing that I continue to point out that is just so unavoidable and important in this conversation is the New Orleans Saints, despite being the second worst passing offense in the NFL last year, despite playing 4 different quarterbacks, despite having Ian Book start a Monday Night Football game, despite starting Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian, despite at times missing 3 of your starters on the offensive line, your first-round draft pick you got only 5 games out of last year. You know all of the injuries and all of the history. You still won 9 games. And if you didn't have to start Ian Book on Monday Night Football against Miami, you are a playoff team. And you are undeniably better right now than you were week 17 or week 18. I'll continue to say it. I think the Saints are a playoff team. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.